Hey there, this is Alvin from Optimal Systems Consulting, and this video is going to provide a structured overview of the operational improvement roadmap that we use. And the purpose of this roadmap is to give you a clear picture of end to end, start to finish, how we start by assessing your current operations, identify bottlenecks, and then create and implement solutions that address those bottlenecks. The core of optimal systems consulting is continuous improvement. And that idea means that we are constantly trying to chip away at what's limiting our business. This framework will walk you through how we do that with your business to make sure that you stay competitive and you can grow the way that you want to grow. So let me walk you through this full roadmap that we use. This structure takes you from we think we have a problem or we're not meeting our numbers this quarter. And it takes you from that to, hey, we know exactly what we need to fix it and how to fix it. But let me zoom out for a second. There are 5 phases in this roadmap. The first three are analysis, and the second two are for implementation and supporting your projects. I'm going to give you a high level view first, and then I'm going to go deeper into each phase. Just kind of a quick overview. Phase one is understanding your world, your day-to-day operations, and the processes that you use to complete the work. Phase two, once we have that background, we're going to take a look at your data across these 6 areas and analyze what's actually happening, comparing what we say should be happening to what is actually happening based on your data. Phase three is where we take all of those bottlenecks that we identified, all those pain points, all those problems, and we build a roadmap to success. That is where we have a list of solutions and a prioritized way to implement them. Phases four and five, is where we transition from plans to implementation. So phase four, we build this and test the solution. Phase five, we implement that solution and then we stabilize it to make sure that any minor changes or adjustments are done and tracked. To keep it simple, this is us walking up the stairs together through these 5 phases and saying, hey, each phase we know what the milestone is, how long it's going to take, and what the expected deliverables are. Now let's take a deeper dive into just phase one. So phase one is looking at your organization. This is understanding how your programs work, what your workflows are, and what your pain points are. This is where we can identify where some of your documentation friction is showing up, your workflow through your business processes, and then looking through your different information technologies to see what systems you're currently using and what plans you have in the future. This makes sure that we have a full scope as we get started in this project to make sure that we have clarity into everything. This is not looking at solutions yet. This is defining and measuring the problem. Going from phase one to phase two is where we take a deep dive into your data. So we review all of your notes, templates, your audit risk across these 6 domains. And this allows us to identify patterns, inconsistencies, and of course, bottlenecks. This is where we can use this data to really look at the root cause behind the symptoms that we found in the first phase. And to review those 6 areas, we have clinical documentation, client flow and scheduling, outcome and KPI tracking, service delivery and billing alignment, user experience and workflow, and finally, system integration and data quality against your different IT systems. This is a well-rounded way to look at your company, and it makes sure that nothing's missing. This is where we separate our assumptions from reality. Now, throughout phases one and two, we make sure to prioritize benchmarking. And this is really important that we're comparing all this information across your internal targets, what you say should be happening, and also external targets. So what's going on in the industry? Let's make sure that you're not only matching what you say you want to be happening, but also you're staying competitive across other businesses in your same market. Now, phase three is where we convert all those findings into a sequenced plan. And that's why we call it solution roadmap. So this is where we have a high level roadmap for implementing solutions that are prioritized based on their impact, feasibility, and effort required to be able to implement it. We define, hey, what do we need to fix first? What's our biggest bottleneck right now? What's driving the business to either stay the same or have issues? After that, we don't want to stop there. Like I said, we believe in continuous improvement. So we also set up, after we get that first problem solved, what is problem number two, number three, etc. Making sure that entire pathway is defined. This helps make sure that you can commit to a long-term plan and that you're not constantly fighting fires because we've already identified the issues and now you can have a plan to solve them. This phase is the bridge between analysis and action. And something that's really important throughout all of these first three phases is that we involve your teams. We want to make sure that all of the stakeholders are engaged and they're aware of any potential future changes. This makes sure that all the right people are aligned together and that we don't spend all this time working on a project that doesn't actually meet what the person that's going to be using the product, what they need. So there should be no surprises in these projects because everyone is involved. Now, this is going to be a complete summary of the deliverables for the first three phases. So the first three phases are all diagnosis and analysis. So in phase one, that's where we have all of our documents that relate to current state analysis. So we review your operating model and your processes and workflows to make sure that you have this understanding and that can be used long term for future ideas. That can always kind of be our guiding light and what we base all of our targets off of. Into phase two, you'll have a complete data assessment. So this is really important. We want to make sure that we have a current state defined for all of these data points. This means that that data can be compared in the future and you can see improvements across your KPIs. And this will look like an operational data dashboard. We also have a real ability to identify your bottlenecks because it's pretty easy to see based on that data which are the furthest off target and which are preventing the complete value stream. Also in this phase, we'll have a benchmarking summary, which as I discussed is us comparing your current state to your internal targets and then also to external targets based on your industry. After we have all those problems identified, the next deliverables are based on the solutions. So we will create roadmaps for the solutions that you have clear steps. We will have prioritized list of these solutions so that you know what to do next, in what order, how long it takes. And then finally, near-term actions, which is a list of quick wins, which is the low-hanging fruit that makes you know that we're going in the right direction, and some of those we won't need to have a full project for. Now, all of these deliverables become the baseline for every future project. We only have to do this process one time. From that, we can base all future ideas on how our current data set and our current workflows are being identified during this phase. Now, the total duration is anywhere between 6 and 8 weeks, just depending on the size of your organization. And this will really give you all of the complete understanding for how you operate today and a very clear roadmap for success in the future. Now, once that analysis is complete, we shift into actually building and rolling out the solutions. And that's phases 4 and 5. So in phase 4 is where we build the solution. We're creating new templates, new workflows, training, logic. We align everything with your internal compliance, your clinical workflows, and being able to be audit ready. We'll make sure we have rigorous testing during this phase. That way, we can make sure that the projects are all viable before they go into a production environment. This helps make sure you don't have these major gaps in your ability to perform your day-to-day work. We also implement training and preparation for this. Very important before we actually go into our complete project is we want to make sure that people are aware and that the stakeholders that will be using the project are trained to it. This is where the complete system starts to take shape. Now, moving into phase 5, this is where we execute. So the goals here are to roll out the new system. We will go live and we will help you guys throughout that process to make sure it's a smooth transition. We will stabilize and monitor. So if we identify problems and minor changes, we'll make sure that that is documented and that those changes are completed. And then finally, we ensure our long-term stability here by documenting everything throughout this project and having a formal closeout that ensures that we are meeting the success criteria that we identified early on before we got started. The goal here is not just to launch a project. It's to have a project that works and is completed. Emphasis on completed. This makes sure that we don't have something that's just spiraling where it's always increasing its scope and delays here and there. This makes sure that we work together on the same team to actually close out a successful project. Deliverables for phases 4 and 5. So our implementation support deliverables. This is where we'll have all of our final templates and workflows, our complete plan for the project, and all of the training required to get started. Once we get started, we'll have our data oversight to make sure that we are stable, and we'll create lists and plans for any changes that are required. We'll also have a celebration as we hand off the project to day-to-day operations. These deliverables complete the transformation from diagnosing a problem to executing the solution. The duration of these phases vary by the scope of the project, just depending on how the scale of this project is going to work and if it has steps previous to it that need to be completed. Now, that's the full roadmap. And again, the entire point of having a roadmap is that you can send this to your teams, you can send it to your management. It's a structured, repeatable method where we all can build around it for how everything is actually going to work as we go through assessment and project development. It works because it's designed for real workflows, not ideal ones. We can come up with a solution, make sure it fits our assumptions, and then operationalize that plan to execute. This has been Alvin from Optimal Systems Consulting.